There might have been several sectors that have seen that kind of surge, right? Highlight a couple of sectors wherein, the growth was phenomenal during COVID.
The sectors such as fintech, e-commerce, and gaming. So if you see, there are a lots of innovation happening in terms of startups and mid-sales companies and small-scale companies also.
Hi, Govind. How are you doing today?
Good, good, great. How are you doing?
I'm great. Thanks a lot. Right. So let me set the context of the discussion first. Today we'll be talking about, the mobile app security and all you probably need to know about the mobile app security market overview and the things like that. Right. So today we have Mr. Govindraj, who is MD of AppSealing. Before we get into the discussion, I'm curious to know more about your journey, Govind. So if you can share some light over there, it would be great. So your journey and overall about AppSealing as well.
Thank you, Mohit, for this opportunity, and I would be appreciated for your time and giving this opportunity. So, talking about me, actually, I have started my journey in Motila Oswal. I've learned there for PMS and equity market, and then I have joined Korean embassy, Korean trade embassy, where I was looking at bilateral trade between two countries, where South Korea and India, where I have established around 30 companies, South Korean companies into India market, where I was handling the GTM, in their market entering strategies, BD, sales, and what compliances they would require for entering into India. Some companies wanted to have joint ventures and technology transfers with Indian companies, so I was handling that. During that period, I met CEO of Income. I was amazed with what they are developing and what the patents and what sort of a deep tech technology they have. And I would see the future of this company, and the CEO of Inca, they have asked us to start India operation. That's how I have joined India 10 years back. And I have seen a transformation of deep tech companies into a SaaS base, where we have successfully created a SaaS product into a global market, not just limited to India, but we have created a global market for security as a service to the global market. This is just short introduction about. Thank you. Yeah.
That's quite interesting. So I see you have a varied experience in overseas market as well, and you have done quite a bit of interactions across countries as well, I believe, in your previous stints. So that's pretty amazing, right? So now, if you can just give an overview about the mobile app landscape in India, right? So how does the market look like? It'll be great.
So basically, India, looking at India, so we have around 600 million digital population out of 500 plus smartphone penetration in India. So if you see, due to this COVID lockdown, the new apps download of end users has been increased on mobile, which has stood around 26.7 million. And earlier, before COVID, the number of daily time spent per user were 3.5 hours, but now it has been increased to 4.7 hours daily. So which is very prominent, I would say, and the verticals in the app ecosystem has been increased phenomenally, which has major like gaming, fintechs, dating apps, and social media apps, which are these things has been phenomenally increased, and a lot has been changed in terms of uh, the UI and UX of end user experience point of view. Even though from OTT's point of view, the streaming services has been outcome with their best streaming services, and we have seen that sort of growth in India market. In globally, there are 170 billions has been spent. Out of in India has we have seen a tremendous growth for in-app purchases, ad revenues, and the the screen applications or game application buying. So we have seen lots of things has been increased phenomenally. So we have a lot talk about the landscape, but the India smartphone also has been increased a lot, because this is the major thing where the smartphones has been penetrated a lot from all the, it can be Android and iOS. So we see Apple has also there increased the sales a lot. So this is the total landscape with numbers, I would say.
Correct. Correct. That's quite interesting stats that you told over there. The one where people are spending 4.7 hours a day on their mobile phones, right? So that's quite interesting, and I'm sure there might have been several sectors that have seen that kind of surge, right? So if you can share or highlight a couple of sectors wherein the growth was phenomenal during COVID.
From a market stats point of view, there are a few sectors have been seen a significant growth in terms of downloads and in terms of their own growth. The sectors such as fintech, e-commerce, and gaming. So if you see, there are a lots of innovation happening in terms of startups and mid-sales companies and small-scale companies also. So I would say India is the most fastest growing market in terms of uh, downloads, the applications. So if you say, if the stats, there are 21 billion mobile application downloaded in 2021. If you go back long in 2026, it was just around 16 billion or odd, but now it has been increased a lot. So the growth has been tremendous in terms of all the sectors, because most of the people have the internet, stable internet. The internet cost is pretty cheap, and the fingertips, everything is available, from your food delivery to payments for playing games or anything. So these are the major things where most of the sectors has been outcomes, and the India apps are becoming multi-purpose. So that's called super apps. So I think this would be the game changer in future. In just one application, you will get multiple things.
Right.
You can do ticketing, film tickets, bus tickets, trains. You can do the payment billing of your credit cards, blah, blah. So many things you can do it. So there are major, and the big conglomerates also working on super apps, such as Tata is coming with the new application, their own super app. And there are multiple tier one and tier two companies also coming up with their own super apps. We have seen this sort of innovation happening in Southeast Asia, such as South Korea or Indonesia and other countries also, which everything they are trying to bring one umbrella, and in one they have created different sectors. So I would say these are the three sectors I would see the major growth in terms of applications.
Right, that's quite interesting. Right now, I believe there are several verticals out there, right? Industry verticals in the mobile app industry as well. So, if you can shed some light over there, what are the major verticals or that are out there in the market?
Major verticals are, I would say, gaming, fintech, which includes neobanking, social apps, and e-commerce apps. E-commerce applications also includes the last mile delivery applications, such as food delivery and other deliveries. Uh, so if you see, we'll start with the gaming market first. In India, in 2021, India has projected around 310 million active gamers available in India, which worth around 1 billion, and this will grow about a 5 billion market in around 2025, which is 16% CGAR, we would say. So in the gaming market, we have seen a tremendous growth because of there are new players are coming in. So So we can say the example. Korea was a quite a big market around the world for the gaming, and they have China. So Korea and Japan was the biggest market for gaming, and we have seen a growth of Korea and Japanese market because we based out of Korea and we know the how the market is trying in gaming, and we would see similar growth is happening in India. There are lots of gaming companies in terms of RMG, skill gaming, casual, super casual gaming. There are lots of subsets of gaming is happening, which is more towards uh, getting a traction, giving a value proposition to the gamers, and it has a phenomenal growth in India because if you see, we have a 600 million digital population, but out of that, a pretty 50% odd sort of people are playing. So there is still 50% growth are available. And as per population point of view, we have a tremendous growth we would see in the future.
Correct, correct. So I'm sure with increasing people or increasing number of people using mobile apps or switching to the gaming industry or the overall rise in this ecosystem, so there might be several challenges that companies are facing, right? And the while I talk about the challenges, there is one aspect is that mobile app security risk as well, right? The whole cyber aspect of it. So why aren't organizations addressing those risks? And what are the key challenges which are faced by the company?
So basically, when we talk about app security challenges, there are a lack of understanding how it works, and most of the every sector has their own pain points. So fintech has their own pain points, gaming has their own points, and e-commerce and social apps their own pain points in terms of app security markets. So when we see and look at it, their vertical based approach, each industry having their own issues, and we would say they are not aware of a WAF and RASP, runtime safe application protection. Because when you have distributed your application into Play Store, you have no control. So the end user can get access of your source code. He can do the tempering, he can do the reverse engineering, any can be possible. But this is when you're applying the security in traditional way, it's require lots of resource because it's a SDK based. So you have to first understand the documentation, then integration will start, then testing, UAT. There are lots of life cycle involved to adopt a technology. So this is the major problem I would see in the terms of applying the security. Major companies they knows about what to apply and how to apply it, but the issue is it's taking too much time. Time to market has been increased a lot, and still most of the people are utilizing on SDK integration based approach, which is I would say a pretty old way to adopt a security, because security is the market. It's keep evolving it. Security, if you adopt this security, it has to be evolved, it has to be adopted with new security threats, and it has to be a future proof that any sort of attack will come, it will show you on a real time, and it will give you visibility what is happening with your brand or your company's point of view. So I would say there is a lots of understanding and about in-app purchases, in-app protection a sort of approach for the industry. And in terms of industry vertical, everything the industry has a solution for it, because from our point of view, we have seen a lots of pain points from the customer's point of view, such as if there is e-commerce customers, they are facing a referral hack, because in the startup ecosystem, we can see that in a startup company, they have to increase the user base. So they send referrals to the customer to increase their user base. So usually we have seen the referral get hacked using pseudo accounts, and it's using a bots. So there are lots of anti-bots are available on a Play Store and Google, where you can just get a virtual money. So we have seen lots of things utilizing and exploited by the user. And the major issue what we have seen is everything is available on Google. So you can just type the keyword, how to hack it. There are a bunch of information available out there, and we cannot restrict that information. And there are lots of emulators, free emulators, and techniques are available on Google to get and exploit the apps for the end user. So that is the major issue, I would say, from overall point of view, from industry's expert or CISO's point of view.
Correct. Correct. So I'm sure, while developing or while the companies are trying to develop the app, there might be certain common barriers as well while they want to enter into the market, right? So one is you told that, okay, they require high processing power, high processing speed in order to develop an application which is as secure as it gets, right? So apart from that, what are some of the barriers that, in your experience are there in the industry?
So I would say the top threats such as code analysis and modification, reverse engineering, cheat tools, emulators, APK moddings, debugging, untrusted environments, and tampering. These are the major the threats we have seen, and the expertise which are lacking is huge from the company's point of view. If you see, there are the overall the application security market is quite big. It's around 2 billion market overall, and it's increasing year on year about 22 or 23%. And we have seen RASP is runtime self-application protection is the future, where application get protected offline. Doesn't matter it's offline or online. Your application still will be protected all the time. It does not require any internet connection. So if the application get downloaded, that does not get any sort of threat. If a hacker is trying to hack the application, it will real time, it will show the dialog box that you're not authorized to use this application, and the same data can be visualized on the dashboard. So that this person from this location is trying to bypass the security modules, or he is using emulators or anti-bots, micro tools. That sort of real-time threat analytics dashboard can be seen. So we have seen lots of threats and challenges, and we have seen the applying security metrics also. So from our point of view, companies should utilize their resources on building their application itself, because app ecosystem is the door opening for their customers. They should understand about what customers need, and security should be handled proper security experts. These days, lots of SaaS companies are out there. You don't have to pay upfront anything. There is no setup fee, no AMC, no technical support cost. What you can pay what you use. Usage-based pricing plan is the new era of I would say all the SaaS companies, because these markets are getting commoditized, and what the value proposition you brings on the table is the how fast you can capture the market in terms of how robustness you are, how the customer service you look at it, and what the price point. So if you these things keep in mind, I would say there are lots of things to win.
Correct, correct, right. Completely get that. Now, so I believe, what is the solution that you are offering, and how is it different from other players who are out there in the market, right? So I'm sure there might be several key aspects in which you are a lot different than other players who are operating in the market. So if you can shed some light on it.
In terms of traditional or the application security market, most of the players offering SDK based. Uh, so the SDK has their own drawbacks, such as gaming companies. They have to update a lot, and the SDKs require a lots of time to integrate it. So, but in terms of AppSealing, it does not require any sort of SDK integration. It's a sealing, called a sealing. The customer has to just upload the APK into sealing engine. Our sealing engine will wrap it, and it will deliver to the downloading will be available for the customer. So it's just a 4 to 5 minutes job, and your application will be sealed, and you can say it's a shielding. It's a shield will be available. So uh, time to market is pretty quick. I would say 10 minutes is time to market, even though you can do the testing, signing process is available within the console. So everything is gets automated. And the pricing point is also, I would say, for like India market, pricing point is pretty considered. uh, so we based off Asia and India, we know the market, and we created a pretty affordable price plan for all the sectors. So just not for considering startups or big companies or big organization. So we have created a different school that anyone can get fit into that price plan. So majorly what our value proposition brings on the table is creating a simplified workflows, which is uh, data, data sealing along with the app sealing, which your data is also encrypted, your auth keys, API keys also get encrypted. And we have prevent, detect, and response sort of strategy, where we protect source code, white cryptography is there, then certificate pinging should be there, resource encryption, anti-key logging. In detection side, we detect and kill, which means if anyone is trying to debug your application, there should be some dialog box, a text box will come that you're using this sort of tool and you're not authorized to use this application, and an application gets killed. And the detection and the response, which means on the dashboard you can see the real-time threat analytics, what is happening, what is the end hacker is doing with your application. So that sort of protect, detect, and response sort of mechanisms we have created, and we have seen a tremendous growth, and we have seen a great response from the market.
That's quite interesting. I would say the dashboard aspect of it, where you told that I can see whatever is happening to the mobile apps at a glance, right?
Yeah.
So now that brings me to my one last question. So you are in the industry since past couple of years, right? So many years, and you might have seen the industry change completely, right? So how was it like? What were the changes that you have noticed, and where do you position yourself in the next 5 years or so?
Yeah. So we have seen a tremendous change in terms of DevSecOps. People are changing, and they are creating lots of workflows around DevSecOps. And most of the people wanted to understand a simplified and automated workflows. So in terms of our point of view, we have created CDCI pipelines to create and integrate it with the closed ecosystems. Uh, Low coding platform is the new era, which most of the players are using OutSystem or Epidem sort of things, where they wanted to automate the workflows, and time to market should be pretty quick. So we have seen that sort of change. We have seen that sort of a sort of upcoming demand in the market. So and also people are moving in terms of banking and fintech. They are rely on VAPT, and along with the VAPT, they are now able to understand the why the RASP is required along with the VAPT. So VAPT is just one pillar, and second pillar is RASP, runtime self-application protection, which is your application shielding, and nothing to do with the WAF, because WAF is a different solution and RASP is a different solution. So it's a multi-layered technology which sits in front of your applications. So the we have seen this sort of change, and people are understanding why the RASP or OSWAP sort of the recommendations has been there in the market, and how it will help to scale up and prevent their brand value. So that sort of thing we have seen in terms of all the growth, and we have seen 5x growth in terms of India market, and I would say it's long way to go in terms of India market is super big. So we have seen, and we have pretty long-term goals in here in India.
Correct. That's quite interesting, and yeah, that's pretty inspiring as well. And a lot of people are educating themselves for the necessity of the cybersecurity aspect, especially in mobile apps, because that's where people are spending a lot of their time these days, right? So it's very 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 crucial, I would say, to keep the apps ecosystem secure in overall, right? So that was a lovely interaction with you, Govindraj. I personally, had a very little understanding of mobile app security market, as it's a niche market altogether. But the discussion with you, I gained a lot of information, right? So thanks a lot. It was a pleasure having you here, Govindraj.
Pleasure me having here. Thank you very much for this opportunity. I really appreciated for giving me this opportunity.
Thanks a lot. Thank you.
Have a great day ahead. Thank you.